For so long through middle school, we used to venture out into the woods, and one day we came across this oddity. Michael thought it was being used to grow weed. Patrick thought it was just an abandoned hunter's post, but if it was abandoned, then why did it have a padlock on it? My friend Carlson speculated it was used by human traffickers. We all had wild theories about what may have been behind the doors of that ominous shed in the middle of woods, and multiple times, we said that we were going to bust in and see what it was for ourselves, and every time we ended up getting cold feet. However, school was ending, summer was approaching, and we would all be going our separate ways as Michael was moving and Carlson was going to a different school. We were all trying to decide on what we would do with our last days together, and we all had the answer in the back of our minds. We were going to put the mysterious shed behind us and see for ourselves what it was once and for all. After school, we grabbed some water and our bikes and rode out for the portion of the woods we usually ride around and play in. It was a noon dismissal, so we had plenty of time to figure out what was in that shed and go about the rest of our last day together. The journey was uneasy. I don't know if it was the sadness of knowing that our friends were going away, the excitement of solving an age-old mystery, or if it was something else entirely. I would almost call it a sense of dread. But what was so scary about a creepy tool shed in the middle of the woods? Finally, after about 20 minutes, we arrived. The small metal structure stood like a sentinel against the overgrowth that had encroached upon it, bearing marks from animals attempting to get in. Carlson took out a pair of pliers to cut the rusted chains around the doors. I still can't believe your dad let you use that. He didn't let me. He was just too drunk to see me take it. With a snap, the rusted chains gave way and fell to the ground. The doors began to swing open, and I could almost hear the sound of everyone's heart pumping in anticipation. The doors swung open to nothing but a small writing desk and a hatch that led further underground. Well, this was disappointing. Patrick blurted out, "Come on guys, there has to be something interesting in here. Maybe check the drawers for some lost cash." We looked around and all we found were notes, too time-worn to make out any sentences, and symbols. We were about to leave when Carlson opened the hatch. We looked down and saw a ladder that descended onto a concrete stone floor. "Dude, this is getting creepy." I shared Michael's sentiment. Whatever is down there was something we were never meant to see. "Come on guys, we came here to do a job, and let's see what all the hype was about. I'm going down," Carlson said, brave and foolhardy. Upon seeing he didn't die instantly, his courage became infectious, and we all descended downwards into the dark cellar. It was cold, unnaturally so. None of us had brought our flashlights, so we had to waste precious phone battery and use the flashlight apps. A single stone corridor stretched out into an almost infinite hallway with doors on each side of the hall. None of the doors had windows, so we couldn't see what might have been occupying these foreboding chambers. "Dude, this is starting to get creepy. Maybe we should head up." "Head up if you want, but this is starting to get interesting." Carlson went to open one of the vaults even though we urged him not to. Surprisingly, the doors opened. They were not locked or rusted shut. Carlson had nothing to say but stood there silently looking into the room. When we all joined him, we could see what he was staring at. It was a skeleton, and it looked to be in the shape of a man, but with the skull of a deer, antlers, and all. Maybe it was a hunter. Nobody bought that. Whatever we were looking at wasn't the skeleton of a human, that's for sure. The other rooms we opened were similar, but some had more than skeletons. Some had dresses made of animal fur that were ruined and writhing with insect larvae. Some had fashioned jewelry that looked like it came from rocks and animal bones. The stench of it was becoming unbearable, so finally, we made it to the final door at the end of the hallway. As we opened it, we saw that it wasn't another cell, but a laboratory of sorts. Beds with straps and restraints, another writing desk with a human skeleton in the chair, and a shelf that still had vials of odd color liquids. Upon further investigation, we found a notebook, one that wasn't so tattered, and we used our flashlights to read through the contents. The 13th of October 2001. We had been getting reports of strange sightings in the woods. People report bipedal deer stalking them and reporting the sightings as close to town as the edge of the woods. The police and state park have been notified. The 16th of October 2001. A boy went missing in the woods and was found by a collaboration of police and state park rangers. He was found with his insides torn out in a puddle of gore. That's when we found the animal that had attacked him, a bipedal deer, as described by the townsfolk. It took a lot of bullets to kill it, and we didn't know who to call this, and ultimately, we called the CDC for fear it may have been carrying a disease. The 19th of October 2001, the CDC has passed this case down to an unnamed government branch who wants to set up surveillance in the woods. We aren't being told anything, however, as a wildlife ranger, they wanted me with them to help chart the area. I have a bad feeling about this. The 25th of October 2001, they began construction on an underground facility. Well, when I saw begun, I mean they took an old bomb shelter that belonged to a John Doe and converted it into a laboratory. They have named these creatures the Voracious, probably a play on the fact these creatures seem entirely driven by the need to feed. What gets me is how human they look, and the fact they seem to possess some language, but we don't know what it means, nor do we have references in any known language. The 1st of November 2001, I had to sign an NDA about everything that happens in my time here. They finally let me into the laboratory they had set up, where they were doing horrific experiments upon the Voracious. Their teeth are razor sharp, and we have no idea how many there are in the woods, but speculate that they have been here for a long time, a very long time. Our phone's batteries were getting low, and the lights were starting to flicker. We all decided to go back up. The run down the hallway was terrifying, seeing as how I was expecting a door to fly open and those monsters to pop out at me at any moment. We all made it to the surface and bolted out of that shed as fast as possible. Even though it was broad daylight, I still felt like we were being watched from every angle. The treetops, the thickets, I couldn't wait to get the hell out of those woods. We reached our houses and made a silent vow to never talk about what we found in the shed. I, however, kept the book and continued to read through the notes. They were unremarkable, only detailing the ranger's ascension of authority. The more he worked on this case, until I reached the final entry, the 1st of December 2001. We heard gunfire and screaming coming from the grounds outside. They have us surrounded, there must be dozens of them. Where did they all come from? I hope whoever finds this journal can help spread the truth, that there is something evil in these woods. Cannibalistic fiends they are. Fire is their only known weakness. I can hear them clawing at the shed above. The rest of the text is ineligible from water stains, probably from tears. I am in high school now, and to this day I still refuse to go into the woods. I still set my own curfew before sundown, and I still hear stories about people who go into the woods and never come back. And some nights, when I look out my window into the dark woods, bloodshot eyes stare back at me.